Ang all-night bridge tollbooth promise on the receipt. The bridge keeps two cities from lying to each other. By day, the toll plaza is a choreography of small debts. After midnight, it becomes a row of lit confessionals humming with electricity and coffee. I pulled into lane 3 with my phone face down in my left pocket, the pocket I use for things that are supposed to make it home, and handed a 5 to a man who made exact change look like a sacrament. He tore the receipt and gave it to me with the practiced mercy of someone who has already forgiven and can't remember why. Back home, Jonah had said, "Can we talk tomorrow?" in the voice that really means please stay now. Our couch passes the bar exam every time we sit down on opposite cushions. I left before opening statements. Neither of us needed to hear the other's best argument and then refuse to live by it. On the approach ramp, my screen lit with a message from Raphael in my contacts, R in the way I label hazards to make them smaller. Break room behind lane 7. Just talk. By day, I fix other people's paragraphs for a city magazine that still prints on paper as if that's a spell against forgetting. By night, I try not to turn my own sentences into weapons. Jonah and I keep a code that works when we remember it. T means come here. You awake. Means I'm scared. Tomorrow means not yet, but please don't be far. Raphael drifted back into orbit 2 months ago when I interviewed toll workers for a story nobody thought they wanted to read. He stood in a booth with traffic running through his chest and made patience look like a skilled trade. He wore a uniform shirt, unbuttoned one too many, and a laugh that sounded like a glass agreeing to be set down gently. He didn't ask for anything. That was how I started bringing him everything. The break room behind lane 7 was coffee, duct tape, a calendar with a bridge on it, and the kind of chairs you forgive because they hold you when the shift does. Raphael leaned against the vending machine with an unopened bottle of water in his hand, a towel tossed over his shoulder like a flag that had already seen the parade. He nodded at the table where the laminated safety poster served as a placemat for everything that wasn't policy. "You came," he said, "because grown men never tire of pretending arrival is a plot twist." "I came to return something," I said. "My spare, your restraint." "Your name," I told him. "It's been on my mouth too long for its own health." He took the receipt from my fingers and set it on the table with a ballpoint the color of plausible deniability. "3 words," he said. "Why are you here?" "3 words is cruel," I said. "That's why they work." He angled the paper toward the fluorescent bias overhead. "No speeches near the booths. They already hear enough." I wrote proud at breakfast. Beneath it, smaller like a fuse I might or might not light, touch before arguing. He read the ink as if it had temperature. He didn't touch me. His hand hovered a breath from my lapel, the distance a match keeps during training, and fell back to the table like the water bottle had filed a protest. "Does he know?" Raphael asked. He didn't need to weaponize the pronoun. "He knows the apartment is quiet," I said. We stood in the kind of silence that turns into weather if you let it. The soda machine clicked like an old friend learning a new word. He stepped into my weather, heat arriving before hands do when men are trying to be better than their appetites. "Tell me no," he said, the most indecent sentence he knows. I didn't. I met him in the inch that rewrites evenings. His mouth tasted like mint and the idea of citrus. When his hand found the back of my neck, his grip remembered humane limits. My body answered like a courtroom that wants the witness anyway. He made the sound men make when a small country surrenders and calls it diplomacy. I made the one I've learned not to hate when it belongs to him. We didn't rush. Concrete punishes clumsiness. His mouth found the hinge of my jaw. Mine found the line just below his ear where regret loses vocabulary. His palm slid under my shirt and rested flat a second. "Do you swear?" then moved with attention rather than appetite. He guided my hand down with the steadiness of someone who respects tools. I closed my fingers and he exhaled into my mouth a truth nobody paid to hear. He reached for me and I let him. We stayed quiet because the wall clock keeps receipts. We already cheated, he said when breath remembered its job. We cheated when we started telling each other the truth before we told it at home. I know, I said, and somewhere a lane light flipped from closed to open because electricity is not sentimental. He folded the receipt and slid it into my left pocket with ceremonial slowness. His thumb traced my wrist once and decided not to stay. He stepped back the moral inch that passes inspection. I booked a motel room under the bridge, he said, not triumphant. Weather report, not prophecy. Refundable. We could stand at the window and not touch for 60 seconds to prove we remember ceremony. We could keep the do not disturb honest. I'm tired of being clever, I said. Clever's a detour, he said. Accurate is toll due. He reached into the vending machine's giveaway bowl and found a novelty magnet shaped like a tiny toll token, ridiculous and perfect. He pressed it into my palm. For your fridge, he said. Cold helps letters behave. We walked the maintenance catwalk above the lanes where traffic sounded like the ocean wearing shoes. He showed me the switch that resets a stubborn gate. People think the bar goes up because they pay, he said. Most days it goes up because a person chose not to make somebody else's night longer. Is that our choice? I asked. We're still counting, he said, not smiling. When I left, the bridge tossed back my headlights like a dare it had already won. The crosswalk gave me time, I took it. The apartment offered its square of kitchen light and the fridge's patient hum. Jonah sat on the floor with his back against the door, sleeves pushed to his elbows, one ankle crossed over the other, the posture manuals use when they draw men who still want a morning. He didn't ask where I'd been. He tilted his head toward the place beside him. I sat. Do you want to be asked? He said, voice steady, not performing mercy, offering it. Please, I said, because prompts are scaffolding when you're rebuilding anything worth crossing. Are you lonely? Some nights, I said. Not here, not when you ask first, not when the kettle outruns the reasons. I took his wrist and placed his hand on my forearm the way he does when he needs to confirm I'm not inventing weather. His thumb traced once and decided to believe me. I feel useful, he said. I want to be wanted before I'm useful. Tonight's procedure, I said. Touch first, argue second, report later. The kettle clicked like a stamp in a country that still believes in mail. He poured water over mint. We named it dinner because names are cheaper than regret. I pinned the folded receipt beneath the token magnet so Proud at Breakfast faced the room. Jonah read the ink and his mouth did the smaller, braver thing. He took the dry erase marker from the cup by the fridge and wrote beneath the magnet, "Tomorrow, keep the torque." He didn't grin. He nodded like a man assembling a morning from honest screws. We made a rule that isn't noble. When prosecution tries to wear a bathrobe, one of us says bridge and the other puts the kettle on while the first puts his hands where history can find them. 5 words when 5 are enough. Stop at the shoulder, not the ditch. Try to want what we promised, and when we don't, write 3 words on small paper and tell the room where we'll fail differently tomorrow. Days do what days do when you're trying to be an amateur human with professional consistency. The receipt in my pocket learned the shape of my left hand. Paper learns its carriers. On the late bus, I drafted messages to no one that began I didn't ask because I thought that counted as kindness and ended may your breakfast go right. I didn't send them. The not sending felt like a skill borrowed from drawbridges. Wait for the right span, then move. A week later, afternoon tried to be a test. A city meeting insisted equity could be legislated without anyone nomming cost. I walked the pedestrian path and bought nothing. I left a bottle of water near the emergency phone with a note, "For whoever is waiting for a sister." A maintenance worker lifted 2 fingers in a salute that belongs to people who fix things nobody thanks them for. On my way home, I slipped a blank lane closure tag into my pocket and wrote "Turn" toward your name across the clean side. I didn't light anything. Raphael and I adjusted our grammar. Fewer messages. No motel windows with views too forgiving. If we failed quieter. If we stopped without applause. Still, we orbited. He sent a photograph of the lane lights at dawn with my initials hidden in reflection. I replied with steam curling over 2 mugs and Jonah's unshowy script beneath the magnet, torque. We flirted by traffic patterns. We confessed by maintenance logs. A storm tried to colonize the river one night. Lightning outlined the cables like a sketch God decided to keep. A lane gate jammed. A truck stalled sideways. The radio learned new swear words. Raphael texted, "Gate arm won't lift. Need hands. Bring nothing you can't regret." I was 5 minutes away and foolish. We wrestled the arm into reason while rain negotiated with the cuffs of my jeans. When the bar finally rose, Raphael leaned against the booth and laughed the kind of laugh that spends itself. He pulled me into the shadow behind lane 7 and kissed me like patience billing overtime. My shoulder met concrete. His hand found my hip. Somewhere a tire hissed the punctuation we didn't use. We didn't rush. We mapped mercy with our mouths and rehearsal with our hands. His palms slid under my shirt and paused. "Do you swear?" Then moved only as far as the better version of me allowed. I bracketed him with a grip he could leave without proving anything. He reached for me and I let him. We stayed quiet because the night had already said enough. "We're bad at quitting," he said into my throat. "We're good at failing differently," I said into his collar. He pressed his forehead to mine with the stubborn softness of a man who believes in off-ramps. "Text me a weather report in the morning," he said. "Tell me if the kettle beat the reasons." "It usually does," I said, "when we let it." Jonah met me at home with the posture of a question he had decided not to weaponize. He smelled like basil and a decision that wasn't ready for court. "Hungry?" he asked, and it wasn't a trap. We ate toast like it had been newly invented. After, he wrote under the magnet, "Ask before leaving." I wrote, "Hold me first." We signed because sometimes 2 signatures keep a span from failing. On a Tuesday unromantic enough to carry weight, I told him the inventory. Raphael's name, the rooms we hadn't used, the doors I wanted to stop choosing. He didn't perform sainthood or schedule exile. He said, "Stay while you learn the thing you say you want to learn. But don't make me a toll plaza where you pay just enough to feel righteous and keep driving." Breakfast became a place with rules. No phones at the table. No rehearsed cruelty before coffee. No pretending tomorrow is a closet where tonight can hang unexamined. I turned the receipt over and added 3 new words: "Choose the hard." Jonah watched me write and didn't ask for a receipt. We shrank the orbit. Fewer back rooms. No lanes after midnight unless a gate really jammed. Raphael sent a photo of the bridge at dawn, all lanes open, caption "Stayed." I hearted it and didn't go. He hearted the heart and let it idle. The bridge keeps 2 cities from lying to each other. Some nights I stand on the path and listen to the river explain everything louder than I need. Trucks breathe. Lights change. People go home or don't. I put my hand on the cool rail and practice being a person who pays what crossing costs without pretending the ticket exempts me from truth. We fail and fail differently and fail in ways that don't require anyone to stand under sodium lamps pretending to know which lane will save them. The room does not demand a verdict. The morning remembers its job. I still carry the folded receipt in my left pocket. It warms to my thigh like a small, unlicensed gravity, heavier than paper should be. Proud at breakfast. Touch before arguing. Choose the hard. None of it is noble. All of it is procedural, like raising a gate when the person in front of you has already paid, and you want them to get home while the road still belongs to courage.